Good to go.
Ready to rock. All right, perfect. Hello and welcome to the How to Hobby Podcast. I'm your host, John Power, and this is episode 165 of our show here. The How to Hobby Boys, once again, bringing you joys on a Friday in the AM, 6 a.m. sharp. And man, oh man, are we ready for some more rip-roaring content here with my co-host joining me behind the mahogany desk, the richest mahogany in the West, Sean Bennett.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, hey.
How's your week going? I feel like we haven't talked since we last recorded, and I saw a little bit on
Ooh.
Strava, so I'm curious to see some of your stories from there. But just how's your week been?
It's been good, man. This week is getting better than last week because I had to recover. I think I shared
Okay.
last episode. I was at a wedding the weekend
Yes.
before, came right back into work. No rest for the weary, and
Hmm.
it just happens to be a very I mean, conveniently, I'm in the thick of it, Sean. That's been the Q3 focus, and it just feels like everything at work is just exploding right now. It's just, and
In a
I
good way, or is it overwhelming way?
it's on the border. It is
Okay.
on the border of being overwhelming for sure. Because it's like all the little things that you were doing to keep yourself
Hmm.
active and growing are just all blooming. And everybody I talk to, it's what they all are saying is, "Wow, haven't been this busy in a while," and or this is the busiest I've been since that kind of talk.
Hmm.
And it's just been my little thing has been either execute or get executed. And I feel like it's really intense and a hard way to look at it. But we have said and haven't pulled any punches here on the show ever when it comes to work. You're gearing up for war. And I
Yep.
still embody that every single day because when it gets real tough like this and everything's just popping off and it's just like nothing is stopping, more things are popping up than you can push down. It feels like whack-a-mole, but all eight of the moles are coming out at the same time. So it's impossible.
Yeah.
But that's where we're at. The week, my son had some wins this week. My son is
Okay.
getting big into bike riding. So that has made
Really?
him
How old is he now?
he's gonna be 5 in October.
Okay. Okay.
So man, you should see his little legs going. He is killing it. So we've been doing that. I've been doing some skateboarding with him. I'm just loving that experience.
Hmm.
And then my daughter has been in the thick of homework and I've been working with her. We had some nice wins today. I was sharing you can either cry or try, and we're never going to be criers. Again, maybe that's a little too intense for some people, but crying paralyzes you, right?
Yeah.
The idea there is paralysis does nothing for you, whereas action, even if you're moving to with incorrect guidance at the moment, you will get redirected, right? At some
Hmm.
point, somebody's going to come along and say, "Hey, you know what? Good job, but you're off course." And so
Yeah.
then, bring the needle back, and here you are. And so that I was just sharing that with her, and trying to motivate. So that was
What are
good.
some of what's the homework she's struggling with most now? Is there like a particular
Um,
thing or is it just homework in
I
general?
no, I think it's just. I mean, there's a lot of homework in the
Okay.
academy that she attends. She's in first grade,
Okay.
and she had at least I think 8 worksheets or more that this today. Um, and so it's intense. And let's see. I mean, it's just spelling words, it's reading, it's math, and
Hmm.
she's getting better at everything. But yeah, the big moment tonight was regarding she just she just couldn't figure this one word out, how to sound it out.
Got it.
And so it bothered her. And then I had to say, no, 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 it's okay. Don't do that. Ask daddy for help. Ask daddy
Hmm.
for hints. Ask, I'm here to help you. So that was good. And then this morning, actually, oh my goodness, man, I ripped so hard on the bike with this guy. So that every once in a while, this does not happen often in Arizona, especially not in the heat of summer. But
Hmm.
every once in a while, somebody will come up behind you that's legit training. And it's my favorite thing because I have my work bag on And so I'm
Hmm.
already like heavy laden and I'm not in full kit. I'm in shorts and just a shirt. I'm
Hmm.
not in the tight clothes or anything. But this guy came up and I could just tell like right away he passes me at the light and he's just gunning. And my goal as a cyclist is, and most cyclists know this, I'm never just going to let somebody go. No way. No way. And today I just, I kept on the wheel and he was like holding a steady 22.
Hmm.
And then I just kind of felt this sense coming over me like, I'm going to have to. I could see he was starting to pull back a little bit. The speed was starting to, and I said, and I just bang and shot off right around him. And I just harnessed the power right into the headwind. It was like a solid headwind and was just holding like 25 to 24 for a solid, mile and a half up until the next light. But oh man, it was good. I was on the button. That was the most exciting thing because it's like, you need that motivation to actually push to that level. You don't just all of a sudden get up and want to go 25 miles per hour. It's
No,
very
no.
hard
It
to
helps to
just
have somebody there to push you, a little bit of healthy competition to get you motivated for it.
100%. And then once you get the body cranking, it's this weird experience where alone you're going whatever you're going, sub 20 most of the time. But the moment you click it on and you get it, for me at least, and I get into that zone of like, okay, now I'm ready, to it's just so intoxicating because you can push it.
Hmm.
You can keep going and keep like ratcheting down. And this is what these like world tour riders must feel like when they have these moments, right? You can just keep cranking and cranking. It must be so satisfying to see people just falling off. They can't they can't hang. But anyway, it was just a fun morning moment. And ironically, we're going to be talking about motivation. So
Hmm.
apparently, this is something that motivates me, Sean. I didn't. This is unplanned, listeners.
It just worked out that way. We're seeing into the mind of John a little bit here and what
He's
gets him
he's a
going.
maniac.
He
That's
just
what
likes
he
a little healthy
is.
competition. There's nothing wrong with that.
Just yeah, just a little bit of pain, suffering. At the end, I was genuinely. I got in, and I was ooh, I could feel that one. So, what about you? How is your week going, Sean?
My week's been pretty good. On a little bit of a trip this week, and to try and get a bunch of work done. I worked a pretty long day yesterday, but it was one of those. It was on one of those projects that has been looming over my head, probably going on about a year now. Where every time I start working on it, it gets deprioritized and pushed to the bottom of the pile. But it's been looming over me for forever, and now I'm getting to a point where people are upset that it's taking this long, and well, why isn't this just done yet? And so I made incredible headway on this project yesterday. Worked a very long day, but got so many parts, designs finished and drawings done and everything under review. And so we can send to the supplier this week while I'm out for a couple of days and they can start reviewing, give their feedback on the design. It just feels really, really good to get that project done. And speaking of motivation, I think the motivation there is a little more. I don't want to let my coworkers down because this is one where the project manager that I work with, who is a really good friend of mine, has kind of been taking it on the nose for this one for a while of people being upset on why it's not done yet. He just has to keep saying, priorities or, oh, Sean's doing something else. This was one that I really wanted to help Eric to make his life a little bit easier
Mm,
and just crank through the work and get it done so that he can go to his bosses and say, "Hey, look, we're making progress. Things are sent to the supplier." So that was a little bit of where my motivation came to crank through was make Eric's life a little bit better. So speaking of motivation, that worked out.
that's great, man. We're really killing it already this episode. I can't believe it. 165 on the way. And I'm glad we're here. Couldn't believe it was gonna come as soon as it did. We're almost out of Q3, so this is pretty cool,
Hmm.
listeners. We hope you've enjoyed the year with us. This quarter has been, as we've said and hinted at, it's been all about executing when you're in the thick of it. Sean and I both have had moments and continue to have moments through the end of this year, I'm sure. but it's going to be fun to really come through. And at some point, it starts to shut down, right, Sean? We know it's
Yeah.
coming, and I think that's why the tidal wave continues to build because at some point everybody just starts to taper off and they
Yep.
can't sustain any more load. There's no more pushing 25 miles per hour into the headwind. It's just, all right, I need to take a break. And I think it's much needed because the days get shorter and it gets darker and your body just wants to kind of calm down a bit. So
Hmm.
let's make our headways now, listeners, and then we'll go from there. If you are enjoying the show, welcome to the How to Hobby Lounge. Best place to be in town on a Friday. Sit yourself down in the plushest seats in town and grab yourself a choice beverage on the way in. We got our bartender Brandon behind the bar serving up the bevies. As always, tip the hat. And if you have any comments or questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below this episode if you're listening on Spotify. Drop us a 5-star review and or like the show, share with people that you may know that may want to hear more from Sean and I. We always like to meet new people. But with that, Sean, let's dive into this episode's content. It's going to be starting with motivation for us, for you. And then we're going to move into a live workshop here. This is going to be kind of unique. We haven't done this in a while. And we'll finish up with things we're really looking forward to about fall because fall is just great. It's right around the corner and we're really looking forward to it. So we're going to finish with that. But without anything more to say, Sean, let's dive into the motivation side of this and take it away.
Yeah. So when we're talking motivation, there's two areas that we're going to kind of talk about, the personal and the professional life. What gets us motivated in those, because I think they are very, very different. I think that for me, a lot of the professional motivation is about advancing my career and making more money, getting the next job title, being a better person for my team. Whereas a lot of my motivation in the personal life is focused more on how do I become a better whole-rounded person and doing new experiences and trying new hobbies and getting to do things that are outside my comfort zone. And so the motivation is very different, but it's important to talk about what motivates us because one, I hope that it'll motivate the listeners out there, but two, I think it's just good to do a check-in every now and then with yourself on what motivates you, what keeps you motivated, so that you are working towards things like that and bringing that into your life so that you feel like you're accomplishing things. So when we're talking, I'm going to start with work actually, because I think it's one that's been really on my mind lately. Some examples for me, I kind of already mentioned it, but being able to become a better team member is what really motivates me at work. It's not necessarily how I get to the next job or how I want to make more money. That is a part of it, but it's usually how do I become a better person so that my team, how do I develop a new skill or something for that? So this actually hit a couple of years ago, right around the time that I started at my current company because we had a need that the team had. We have Scrum Masters. You know, we do Scrum, we do Agile development method. And so our team needed a Scrum Master, but not just a Scrum Master, but somebody that wanted to do it and wanted to make the team better. Because the position is kind of a team coach, is more of what the title is turning into, somebody that helps understand the whole workflow from design to documentation. And so if the team is getting stuck on something, it's my job to help clear those blockages. If there's something that I'm seeing a skill gap that everyone is struggling in the same area, I go to my boss and I say, hey, can we get outside training to come in and show us how to do stuff like that? And that was where I had a conversation with my manager, and he said, hey, I think you'd be a really good fit for this. Would you be interested in doing something like this? It's, and I said, yes, I would. And I'm doing it now for almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years this December is when I started being a Scrum Master. And the thing that keeps me enjoying doing it is seeing the weight that it takes off other people's shoulders. When I go to, an old coworker of ours, Mayo, when I go to Mayo and I see him feeling overwhelmed, he's struggling to know everything he's supposed to be doing at work. He's feeling overworked. There's 4 project managers coming to him all day asking when things are going to get done. If I can step in and say, hey, let me help you, tell me what you're doing so that I can say, nope, I need to be the barrier. Mayo is overworked. You guys have to come talk to me, and I'm the filter for Mayo. That way, Mayo can just do what he's supposed to be doing. He's not constantly being bombarded by people. that feeling of watching somebody be able to just take a breath and relax, that's what motivates me to do that thing, to be able to be that for somebody. And
Nice.
that's just that really helps. So I'm curious in your work, are you motivated by the same thing or is it something a little bit different that keeps you, going for the next thing when you're at work?
Yeah, I think it's a mixed bag. I mean, I always probably underlying to both of ours will be connection as it's important. It's and really sharing
Hmm.
the load, I think is a huge part of motivation and staying motivated as a tactic. That's one of the things I share with my daughter. Without actually being willing to communicate and say, hey, I'm overworked, or hey, I have this going on, or hey, I need help doing this, you won't, you'll just be spinning your wheels. And it's impossible to be motivated when you're spinning your wheels. That
Hmm.
is when no matter how diverse you may be or how robust you may think you are in your career, without the understanding of when to know, hey, I need to tap somebody, you won't be getting the tap for that next role. You
Yeah.
won't be getting the tap to take on more responsibility because people will say, "Oh, he's just not ready yet."
Yeah.
So I think that's part one for me, like you shared, is just knowing when to reach out. But two, I really enjoy seeking out harder tasks. Harder tasks for me keep me more motivated than
Yeah.
just the normal run of the mill tasking. Now, again, I think every task has its place. Some tasks, it may be a very basic task, but it's something outside of your breath. So you can still gain a lot from that and seek out motivation through that channel. But if it's something in your direct wheelhouse, you can only take on so many of the same tier before you kind of, or myself personally, get a little bit complacent and bored with that same thing. Now, I
Hmm.
think there is also a balance between what is bored and what is just you're boring. I think you can almost take any task and find a way to make it better. Go to that little bit deeper than next time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Building on what you have and what you know to grow into the next revision of that. And I think in general, right, ownership is such a big part of engineering. I'd be very interested to sit down and talk with anybody else in any different field because I'm sure they have different motivations than we do. But I think one of the biggest things is just knowing that when I put my name on something, that's my official stamp
It's going to be on there
forever,
for a while.
forever. And that
Yeah.
is so unique to our field
Hmm.
versus others because maybe yeah, you sign your name when you come in, or maybe for whatever reason you're tracked when you do this certain thing. But man, we are held to such a higher standard. It feels like a lot of time because of the fact that it's all out there in the open. Your
Yes.
entire body of work regarding a task is just there for years and years and years to come.
And
And you'll either,
you never know when you're going to be called on because I
no,
worked a project a year and a half ago where I was designing these little plates. And then a year and a half later, they go, "Hey, we want to redo those plates to make it for a new model. You're the guy. You're going to do this for us because you did the tolerance stack. You did all the CDR for it." And I got yanked into this project, not because it was what I was working on. It wasn't even part of the team I was on. It was just, hey, you did this 2 years ago. You're going to do it again this time. So
yep,
you can always be pulled into those projects at any time because once you put your name on that drawing, it's there forever.
that's right. And it's very unique to our field for sure.
Yeah.
But that in itself is probably one of my number one motivations for staying on top of it, staying on top of my game. There was a sommelier. Have you ever heard of, Soms?
No.
SOMS. So they're the wine connoisseurs of the world. So pretty much
Okay.
when you become a master som, there's a whole documentary on it. You have to do all this learning and take a very in-depth uh, test. And then one of the biggest parts of it is you have to blind taste three whites and three red wines and knock them out.
Mm.
Literally call out the region it was produced, call out the notes, call out, and then ultimately call out the maker and what vintage it is. So it's like a whole in-depth experience. I mean, like talk about reverse engineering, But the thing that they all say once they graduate and they become master somms is, and then they get put to work in restaurants around the world,
Hmm.
they say, oh, it doesn't end there. I thought my education was going to end there and the hard work would end there. But to stay on top of my game and to know whenever anyone can come in from anywhere around the world and ask me questions, I've got to still be just as
Yep.
sharp. So I think this is one of those similar aspects in our career where you really do need to stay sharp in your craft.
Yep.
And I would encourage other people, no matter what trade you are in or corporate position you are in, try to just remember to stay sharp and keep that as something that you're really interested in doing. Now, hobby wise, Sean, I'm going to dive into this.
Go for it.
Goal setting, I think, is my number one when it comes to being a hobbyist at this point. I think what's made me really effective at the hobbies that I'm doing is I actually, contrary to how most people interact with hobbies, I don't seek and need the constant motivation from people.
Hmm.
As much as that was fun this morning, ripping with somebody and really putting down the pedals, that I don't need that every day to just be able to get out and do something.
Yeah.
And so there's something else there for me. I think it's always been a need to get out just first and foremost, but now setting little goals for myself in my mind every single quarter has been such a huge part. Like I'm doing another race in November. As you know, I do multiple trips of various kinds every single year and make a point to do those and to strive to get them done and be one of the major planners for them because I see the value for my friends that do get on board and come.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think that for me is one of my big tactics for staying motivated in my hobbies is just setting goals and committing to them.
And fulfilling them.
Well, that's
It's
right.
not, yeah, it's not just saying you're going to do it. It's that feeling of checking that box and saying, hey, I accomplished that thing. That's, I think, a really common trait among people that work in STEM, or at least everyone I've talked to. We are a field of people that like to check boxes, that like to say, we accomplished that, we did it, it's done. And that's something that definitely bleeds over into our hobbies as well.
And if you don't do it, you don't feel as great.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing you also hone in on. I know for me, and sometimes I got to be careful. You do need to put guardrails around this because at some point we will be less physical than we are now. And
Yeah.
so I also interlace this heavily with joy. Don't just go out and do something if you don't enjoy it. Find things, listeners, that you actually do enjoy. If you're
Hmm.
not a hardcore rider, you don't find joy riding your bike, then don't, that's not the hobby for you because it won't be a sustainable thing. Whereas me, when I'm on the bike, Sean, I'm literally dreaming of one day doing, you know, crazy trips, right? I'll just find myself sometimes daydreaming like, man, I can't wait till that next time I'm just on my bike for 8 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that in itself, I know for a fact is so rare. People are like, what? Why would you? And I know because I ask people, hey, do you want to come ride your bike for 8 hours with me? I have a day off. Like, dude, no, that sounds terrible. Like
It's definitely a unique one.
that's, but I think it's the freedom that comes along with many hobbies.
Yeah.
That is another super motivating aspect of the hobby specifically. And I
Hmm.
think, well, I'm interested to hear what some of your motivation tactics are. I mean, we've picked at a few here, but yeah, give me one of yours.
Yeah. So in my hobbies, I'm going to specifically talk about two trips that I took that were for very, very specific reasons that got me motivated to go. The first was my trip to Texas, where I did the Wildman journey, the Wildman experience, which is where I did a week in Texas and we did a lot of things that are looking to build healthy masculinity in guys of a lot of firearm work, but a lot of also sitting around campfires and talking with guys, connecting and smoking cigars and just hanging out and then going out doing more firearm stuff. Like it was, I got to go on a hog hunt while I was out there. It was a trip really focused on, for me, it was I was really hungry for connection. I was at a point in my life in my, mid 20s where I felt really disconnected from a lot of people, a lot of things. I didn't really have that feeling like I had any real friends. I had a couple like you, but it felt weird. I was at a
I'm
weird
just your
point in life.
co-host.
Yeah.
It just wasn't
And
doing it, you know.
I
I
was
get it.
looking I get I was looking for something more. And I also, didn't necessarily grow up with the healthiest masculinity people around me or examples. And so I was looking for something like that. And so I was hungry for connection. And I went on this trip, ended up making really, really good friends, learned a lot about myself, really pushed myself to do things that were way outside of my comfort zone. I flew in that helicopter and I
That's
did
right.
a bunch of long range work and I went on that hog hunt. But it was something that the motivation that kept me going, one, to sign the check to be able to go to the thing, but also to do give it my all, my 110% the whole time I'm there. There are no breaks. There is no relaxation, relaxing. It's every second is there for a reason. That was because I was hungry for connection. That was my motivation. When I look at my Washington trip that I did a couple years later, that was more focused on I was really hungry for confidence. And so these were things that in my hobbies I didn't have the confidence. I really wanted to get into hunting. That was something I was very interested in. But my biggest fear is I would get out on a hunt, I would shoot an animal, and now I'm in the middle of the woods by myself, and I lose the confidence to know what I'm doing. And I second guess it. And that was my biggest thing I was afraid of. And so I found this really cool school up in Kettle Falls, Washington, that was an entire week-long course on human nature hunting, is what the school was called. And it was, we did lessons in archery, lessons in long range shooting. And then probably the thing that I was there for the most is they brought a sheep from one of the farms and they actually killed the sheep, left a blood trail through the forest. We had to track it as if we had shot it. And then the group, we drug the animal back to the house and we fully butchered the animal, fully skinned, butchered, cleaned everything, quartered everything out. And then that was actually what we ate for the rest of the trip while we were there. They had a chef that came in and cooked the different parts and taught us how to cook it, how to make sure it's cooked well and fully cooked so you don't get sick. But that was everything. And I have the coolest, most metal picture I have is me holding the head upside down after we had removed it from the body. And it was, a very surreal moment of me realizing, having to come face to face with where my food came from,
Yeah.
what was required in order for me to go to the store and get a steak or get bacon. It was really connecting. And then, I went and took that class in Boulevard last year and did the pig butchery class for the same reason, wanting to become more confident in myself and become more self-sustaining. That was a big thing I was working towards. But the motivation for this Washington trip was less of the connection. I mean, I formed great connections. I made really good friends, but it was just I was looking for the confidence, looking to
Hmm.
build that in myself, learning from experts. And I noticed that a lot of the trips that I do for my hobbies, I'm doing the work beforehand to find the people who are the most expert in any particular field that I want to get into. And then I go find their classes. And so that I can learn
It's a great
from
idea.
the best that's out there. So in my hobbies, I think is I'm always continually looking to learn and gain new experiences and in kind of a selfish way. Like I want cool experiences that I can tell people. I want cool
Yeah.
pictures that I can show off and kind of say, hey, look at the crazy shit that I've done in my life. It's just something that I really enjoy doing. So yeah,
Well,
that's some of my motivation.
isn't it crazy? I love your kind of breaking down for one. Thanks for sharing. But the idea that food is as accessible as it is now, just really, when you just take a second to even reflect on it,
Yeah.
how often do we actually eat store-bought meat? Probably multiple times a week.
Yep.
And yet we don't even think for a second actually what that cost was.
Yep.
And I
You have
think
no
that,
idea.
yeah, and that to me is just so baffling because again, so many people are just meat lovers. Like we're really, really big on eating meat, especially in the US.
Hmm.
And we don't even think for a second,
What goes into it?
wow, yeah, what,
The life that was given up so you could do it. But I think another big thing is knowing how much work goes into it too. Like
yeah,
it's so much beyond even the ethical side of or the morality of killing an animal to be able to eat it, but how much work
the
it
work.
takes to be able to process it down to get that pork chop that you get at the grocery store. The days it took us to learn how to fully butcher this thing and skin and dehair and everything, and then how to recognize the different cuts and how to prepare it this way and do that. Prosciutto, doing everything was such an immense amount of work that it really made you appreciate every bite. You know, when we got some ground pork from the big butchery class that I did, that was, you know, it was really high quality, so it was really good, but it was better than anything I'd ever tasted because I knew every step that went into all of the work that we did to get everything up until we could grind that ourselves and actually vacuum seal it. I knew all of the work, the hours and hours that went into it with a whole team of people trying to do it and learn. It made it taste that much better. Every bite I took, I was able to remember what went into that. So that was a very big motivator for me to really pay attention to what I'm doing.
No, it's great, man. So with that, I think it's a great segue because we want to do a live workshop here. I have
Yeah.
something I'm trying to build around this men's retreat coming up at my church. And so I think we kind of wanted to do this live and off the cuff here, but I've been struggling, and I shared this with Sean, to really gain motivated members that want to join and come along. And I find it was just an interesting thought process of what does actual what are people interested in doing and learning when it comes to any given experience? And Sean shared a couple of his. I think he has a lot to add here. So I think first you were wanting to know what it was, Sean. So we'll
Yeah.
start there.
Like what is it and why are you wanting to do this? I think that's a really good place to start if you're ever trying to plan something like this, because if you can't communicate that to the people who you're trying to get to go, they're not going to go. So putting that down on paper and actually explaining what are you trying to do and what is the motivation to do it, that'll really help get people motivated to come.
Yeah, so I mean overall it's a church event, so it's going to be low cost weekend fun for the guys
Hmm.
separated from your family. So I think one of the big things and drivers for any guy when you're in the thick of it and you have a wife and kids, which most people do in my church, taking time to actually separate from that is one hard to do, but it's very necessary.
Yeah.
So I would say, what is it? Well, you're going to be away and separated from your loved ones for a weekend. So in taking intentional time to be apart and spend quality time and build on connections in your immediate church body. So that's the, what it is and why we're doing it in my mind. It's pretty straightforward, right? It's a bunch of guys for a weekend.
Yeah.
And we have built a few different talking points. So there'll be a few different sessions. And then there's some free time. And of course, meals that bring it all together.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't really know if there's anything more to say there or add to the brief, right? It's
No, I think that's a good place to start for sure.
okay.
I'm
So
it's
any
already clicking in for me.
so yeah, anything right off the top that kind of stands out to you as to why maybe that could be a hard thing to see or want to commit to. Um,
I think that there may be a stigma for some of the guys who they may have a hard time explaining to their family why they need to go do this thing. That was a big thing I saw in a lot of these trips was trying to get the family to understand why do I need to go away for this time? Why do I need to spend this money, whatever it is? I think that the number one thing I would recommend in this instance is don't necessarily market towards the men, market towards their wives.
that's
Because
yeah.
in reality, a guy can want to go do something, but if he doesn't feel like his wife is behind him in that, then it's going to be a lot harder for him to say, "Hey, I'm going to go disappear for 2 days to go to this, hang out with a bunch of guys, right? I'm going to go have a guys' weekend." If you can market to the women and say, "Here's why this is really important for your guy to come to this thing, to get him connected, to get him more in a healthy spot, to try and get him friends, to be able to have him come back to you guys after the weekend and be the stronger, better person.
That's right.
If you can market to them and get them to say, "Hey, honey, I think you should really go to this retreat that John's planning. I hear that it'll be really good." Giving them that blessing, I think, will probably be the number one easiest way to get a bunch of guys to sign up for it.
I agree. Yeah, that's one I've tried to pull on a little bit, but haven't done enough for
Yeah.
sure. And I do agree. I think that can be a major issue for guys, especially when they're married, because we get comfortable and we
Hmm.
kind of get a little bit complacent as men. Just generally, it's just a general man trend,
Yeah.
right? You kind of start going through the motions, and then it's, how could I ever leave for a weekend? I can't do that.
Yep.
And
Because I have responsibilities and I have
that's right.
things that have to be done. But if you have it from the other side, so this could be a good one where you pull your wife in and say, "Yeah, I kind of need your help to go talk to the other wives and get them to understand why this is so important so that they give their husbands that blessing." I think that would really change the game. I think another one is this something that you're trying to do local, or are you trying to get people to kind of travel to it?
No, it is a travel. So there's two questions I have for you now. So first and foremost is, do you have an ideal radius from home that you think is more ideal? And then I'll tell you what the where how far ours is away. And then
I
the
w-
second
oh, yes,
is,
go for the second one.
yeah. The second is, what time of the year do you think is more conducive for men in general, or even just a general retreat?
Hmm.
What Knowing what we know and what we talked about this year, give me those two off the top.
I think the first question I would recommend for budget wise, probably anything that can be done with that you can drive to
Okay.
rather than having to fly. And I would say shoot for between the 2 to 4 hour max radius mark of time to drive from where they live to where this retreat is. I think that that's probably really good where it's not too much of an impedance, but it also gets them to feel like they are going away to something so they get to go somewhere. But shoot for that 2 to 4 hour mark likely. And then I think time of year, I would really stay away from holidays. And the reason I say that is holidays are generally when families have people coming in or they plan to go travel too. So like I would imagine around Christmas, you will get almost nobody that will sign up to want to go because they're already going to have mothers-in-laws and father-in-laws they have to deal with, and they're trying to convince the wife to let the husband disappear during the holidays for a weekend's probably going to be very challenging. But if it were maybe right after the holidays, like early January or early December, maybe right after Thanksgiving, it's still not Christmas yet. I would say probably spring. If you can do any time of year, I feel like probably spring is the best time because there's not really a whole lot going. The kids will have spring break, but it's really only a week, maybe 2 weeks max, depending on their school. There's not a lot of holidays. There's not a lot of travel that most people do. A lot of the travel, especially with kids, is usually in summer break or winter break. So I would say probably early January through maybe April would probably be your best time to get people to sign up.
Well, thank you for sharing, because I'll give you first the radius. So
Hmm.
we did hit your first mark.
Okay.
We are just, and by the way, my Google first gave me the bike directions. So thank you, Google. It knows me so well.
How many
Uh,
hours does it say for biking?
18,
Okay.
18. But for normal people in a car, it's 3 hours. So we're
Okay. I perfect.
right in that sweet spot. I do agree. I think it's kind of a nice, you do know you're going away a little bit further. The last year we did it, it was 2 hours.
Okay.
So that may still be, we'll see when I compare the numbers of how many people go. But then the other one that I already felt like was kind of a problem for this year was, we did it in the spring last year. And then
Okay.
this year we transitioned to a fall. And the
Hmm.
fall seems to be much more tricky for
Fall
people
is
to
a lot harder
navigate.
because there's a lot of
So much
travel
going
and
on, man.
holidays and stuff coming in fall. It's much harder. The fall winter time, I think would be much harder to put something together for sure. Not impossible. You could still swing it, but it's going to be harder than spring.
For sure. Yeah, I'm feeling that. And I think that may just be the number one problem we're kind of running against. But yeah, I mean, these are important questions to ask. And I mean, would you share any other in-depth strategies moving forward as I try to continue? Because I'm big on this. I always like planning things for people, not just this retreat in particular. Um, but the other one, I guess I am interested in what sort of things get people excited, just generally. Like what are some of the things you'd be looking for if you were going to want to go on this activity wise, or what is the balance? Because that is one that I always ask. What is the balance between activity time and sort of like free time, and then constructive, hey, we're going to get around and come together on these ideas?
I think that usually a good way to plan it is during the day to have things already planned out. We're going
Yeah.
for this activity, we're going to do this thing, and then you do dinner, and then the rest of the evening is kind of free time. It's time to hang out, sit around a fire, smoke a cigar, drink whiskey, whatever it is. That I think that will probably work out well. I think that if you're looking to get people motivated to go, looking for some stereotypically fun thing guys like to do. It could be something quote unquote hilariously mainly like axe throwing, or we're going to go on a hike up to this peak, or like things that guys will really like to do. We're going to go out, I don't know, we're gonna all play pool. We're gonna all go do something together that is kind of that thing that guys will like to do. And then plan if you can some time in the evenings to have a bonfire, have more of a laid back, let's build a community kind of
Yeah.
thing. And let's you don't want to use it as a time to put down their wives and family, but you do want to hype up the fact that hey, this is your time to really enjoy hanging out with a bunch of guys.
Yep.
You're away from the family. You can just let loose, relax a little bit. Even talk with each other, things you're working on, things you're struggling with, like use it as this community building thing. That will probably get people really motivated to want to go. So I think have
Yeah.
things structured during the days and then have the evenings a lot more kind of open and relaxed. Nothing too planned out.
Perfect. No, thanks for sharing, Sean. This is great. Some really good things to think about moving into the event, and I'll let you know how it goes. Yeah, it's 2 weeks away now, so
Cool.
we're
Cool.
we're very close. So I don't have much time to implement, but it was fun to talk through and try and implement some of this in the closing minutes here. But let's finish up the show here with a fun one. Things we're looking forward to this fall. I think this is always such a fun time of year in general to get cuddled. And I think, like you said there, even it's harder to do things in fall because people, once they start closing down,
Uh-huh.
you do just naturally start losing motivation to really go out because you want to just kind of hunker down, enjoy your stuff, your things, and ultimately get closer with family. So I'll share a few of mine, then we can kind of go back and forth here.
Sure.
It is Trader Joe's fall product line launch time. And this is such a fun one, Sean. You brought up the fall leaf ice cream
Yep.
sandwiches last week.
Yep, sure
Uh,
did.
so you were really jonesing for those. I haven't had them yet, but I did grab a few on the way. It was kind of our slow week. We couldn't go all the way in, but I
Hmm.
did grab the fall tea. If you're ever in the neighborhood for tea, you're kind of like a tea guy a little bit,
I'm
but
I'm a edge of tea guy. Like I
edge of
kind of
tea.
like it, but I don't know anything.
Well, this one is only $2, and let me tell you, it tastes so good. It is fall in a cup. I mean, it's like
Nice.
apple cinnamon, all the apple spices, but not too much. And I think that's
Okay.
kind of the key for me. It's not overbearing, but man, it's good. And if you haven't tried the TJ's fall chip line, so
Mm-mm.
they come out with a pumpkin chip, which is just phenomenal because it's like the sweet and the savory. That's
Okay.
perfect for salsa. Like get a hotter salsa,
Mm.
and then the pumpkin chip, just it's just sweet enough, no added sugar, but just pumpkin, right? And even just that little bit of mix, oh, it's so perfect. And then the best, my favorite that I always look forward to when I see them is the fall chips. They make them out of fall leaves. Um, I think they're called fall leaf chips. And
Those are the kind of tortilla chips, right?
yes, but out
Yeah.
of the different, so there's a uh, there's a standard tortilla one, then there's a pumpkin one, then
Hmm.
there's a yeah, they kind of do like the multi-grain deal where they're
Yep.
using different and they're infusing different. There's like a sweet potato one. Dude, it's great. It is such a good. little fun thing to look forward to. And I don't even know if I could give a top product during the fall. I don't know if I have one. Do you? So this is something we've talked about a few different times in fall on the show. At this point, what is like your standout?
I think the standout is I think pumpkin drinks has been a really big thing getting into this fall of going. I just had it was a cream cold brew at Starbucks the other day, and it was absolutely delicious. A lot of pumpkin drinks at Coffee Bean out in San Diego. I think it's cool that all of the coffee shops are having those pumpkin products, but I think that, you know, they're everywhere, but they're all really, really good. And it's one of the best parts of fall. Because getting into winter, my favorite part of winter is the fact that every coffee shop has the peppermint mochas,
That's right.
which is one
Yep.
of my favorite coffee drinks in the world. So I like that getting into the fall, you have all the pumpkin stuff. But those, like I mentioned last week, those maple cookies, the ice cream cookies are absolutely delicious. I like that there's a lot more. Probably my favorite product is that there's all the fall candles that
Oh
come
yeah.
out in fall, the
Oh
pumpkins, the apples, and I love burning candles. So that's something that I'm always looking for is a new candle.
yeah. No, that's a good one. We got our pumpkin candle as well, and pumpkin hand soap, and the
Yes, yeah.
two. Man, it's just like that hand soap just does something. It just smells great, gets you in that mood. You feel great, and yeah, you're ready to move on to the next thing. Yeah. So moving on from sort of products, what are some experiences you're looking forward to coming up here in your own
Yeah.
life?
So in a couple of weeks here, I'm going to Japan, and that is something I'm really, really
Oh, the
looking
big
forward to.
time.
The big trip, about 2.5 weeks spending out there. Mainly, we picked fall because October is the best time to be in Japan. The weather is perfect out there. It's not too hot, it's not too cool. The snow hasn't kicked in yet. It's out of typhoon season, so it's a really good time to travel. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then just some other things is the fact that the weather is finally cooling off. I think that's my favorite part about fall. We actually had it was so weird in San Diego. We had such a mild summer, and then kind of as soon as September hit, the heat just spiked. It was out of nowhere. It was kind of once we got into fall time, they started getting hot. So I'm hoping it starts, going on a downward trend and cooling off a little bit. I love the shorter days that come with fall into winter. I really enjoy the night. And so I'm really looking forward to that. And then another really big thing is that in fall, it seems to be this thing that soups just make a comeback. Like that's soup time
Yep.
is fall time. The tomato soups, the pumpkin soups, everything is just everywhere. And I think that's one of my favorite things that I'm looking forward to going into this fall.
Soup and salad guy? Do you ever
Soup.
just go and get a soup and salad?
I'm a soup and sandwich guy. Not a soup and salad, but
Okay.
a soup and sandwich.
So
If I can dip,
Panera half and half deal?
yep, Panera half and half, and then they upgrade to a bread bowl. That's the
Oh,
one
okay.
of my favorite things. But yeah, I like to be able to dip my soup. It's why I like tomato soup so much. Tomato soup with grilled cheeses. I love dipping the sandwich into the soup.
Oh, so good. Yeah, I gotta get some vibe going there. It's so hot here all the time that I only have such a small window, but I will say this. I have one that I've been looking forward to doing. There's a local mountain called Flatiron near us,
Okay.
and in the fall this year, I will get up and sleep on it without a tent and just in my sleeping bag. It's my goal because it
Mm.
overlooks the entire Phoenix area or the East Valley. It's very proud. It just looks awesome. I haven't done it, and I want to make this like one of my fall things I do this year. But I'm also looking forward to. I think gaming just hits different in the fall. It's another one of those like the days are getting shorter, and a lot of games just happen to release. New games release in the fall,
Hmm.
so just get you thinking in that way. And I don't know, Sean. It's as I get older, I'm just more and more nostalgic. I was kicking on the skateboard while my son was riding his bike. And, I was just going, I never want to lose this.
Yeah.
I never want to lose this specific thing. As you get older, listeners, don't just go back to the things that I don't know. Like, or I guess I shouldn't say don't just go back. Don't move on.
Hmm.
Always try and look back at the things that brought you joy and don't let those go. because I'm finding more and more because I've stayed consistent with certain things. Like I had this thing, this goal, ironically, for myself of every single year, I still got on the skateboard and did certain tricks a few different times during the year just to make sure I stayed with it.
Hmm.
Because again, it kept me connected to that hobby and I can still do it. Same with gaming. I still, no matter what, even if I'm only averaging an hour a week, which is pretty much my average, I'm still connecting with it. I never just shut it off entirely. And I think
Hmm.
that's one of the big things in closing here for myself on this motivation for you listeners. Don't just close the door on things because you think you don't have enough time.
Yeah.
Like I said in the very beginning, if you think you're bored, it probably just means you're just boring. And I heard this from somebody recently, and I thought that is a wonderful quote. Being a dad now, I mean, it's like, how many times did I say as a kid, I'm just bored? It's
Uh-huh.
like, no, you're just boring. Go and figure out something to do.
Go do something.
And my dad never said that to me, thankfully. But now I'm taking this and I'm going to say it to the listeners. Which, sorry, listeners, you're wonderful people. But let's not get bored. Let's get out there and have fun and get out and potentially game. Football is also super great in the fall, Sean. We love this.
Yep.
I'm in the fantasy league. The cold, we both are just jonesing for the cold. You're actually joining me behind the mahogany desk in Arizona this week, and you're getting a feel for
Yes.
just where we're at. But I'll finish with mine here. The chocolate chip pumpkin bread I cook in the fall is kind of like the official start to the fall for the family. Like they look
Hmm.
forward to it, and you just can't run the oven very often in Arizona unless it's a weekend. You have that
Yep.
unlimited peak with the AC. But man, the chocolate chip pumpkin bread, I'm looking forward to bringing it. I haven't done it yet, so it has not started. Fall is not officially here, but when I do, Sean,
You know.
that's when it's coming. Um, yeah, give me some, I guess, closing thoughts on what you're looking forward to.
I'm just really looking forward to getting to experience this fall. Enjoy, my work is kind of slowing down a little bit going into
Ooh,
Q4, which is kind of nice. We shut down at the end of the year for a week and we're kind of slowing down. It's not normal for us to slow down, but we're just the way budgets are working, the way priorities and programs are working, things are slowing down a little bit, giving us a little bit more time to focus on doing things right the first time and not having to go back and fix mistakes next year because we were pushed too fast at the end of the year. I'm really looking forward to that. This Japan trip is something I've been planning all year. I'm really
forever.
excited to be able to do this. I'm really excited to get out of summer and into the fall winter time.
Oh, it's gonna be great, man. Can't wait. Can't wait to share some moments together as well. And listeners, we hope you enjoy doing the same. Don't forget to seek connection. We were talking about this. Sean mentioned, being hungry for connection. Traveling is huge for this. He's going out of town into Japan and with people, I think is the key there, Sean. So enjoy that experience, listeners. Let's seek out connection and get less lonely this fall. Let's actually get out there, go to a bar, go up and sit at a bar for once and brush shoulders with real people and enjoy these experiences of just having fun with real people. And I think that'll be a great thing with so much. There has been some tension out there in the world,
Hmm.
Sean, right now, with some of the things that have happened culturally. And it's just crazy to see what can happen when, again, you bottle it up all behind a cell phone screen. So again, listeners, let's get out there and talk to people in real life and enjoy the experience of having differences of thought. So, with that, Sean, let's kind of close it down here. Thanks for being here as always. Listeners, you are the best in the game. Thanks for always supporting us here at the How to Hobby Podcast. If you want to get to know us better, we do have ways you can do that. You can reach out to us at our Gmail account, howtohobbypodcast@gmail.com. We do have Instagram at How to Hobby Podcast and YouTube. We've been putting up the YouTube content. So thank you for those that have been seeking us out there, giving us likes, watching the show. It's always great to see you there. So with that, Sean, we'll catch you at the next one, listeners. And until the next one, 6 a.m., best day of the week, Friday. You know where to find us at the How
How
to
to
Hobby
Hobby
Podcast.
Podcast.
Oh, I got a little bulge here. Uh-oh.